Good morning or good afternoon, everyone, depending on where you might be in Canada or the United States, and welcome to Magazines Canada's webinar series. And thank you for being a part of today's sold-out event. My name is Gary Garland, Executive Director of Advertising Services at Magazines Canada, and I will be your MC. Today's topic is what magazine media can do for you, a review of 3 case studies. As the title cleverly suggests, we have 3 very different case studies to share with you today, and we are very lucky to have speakers from TC Media, Venture Publishing, and Rogers Publishing to share with you some of the objectives, processes, and lessons learned specific to each of these successful campaigns. And at the end of this webinar, we hope that you will have learned something new and perhaps even become inspired to try strategic, out-of-the-box, print or multi-platform campaigns of your own that meet advertiser objectives. So here's how the next hour will unfold. We're going to present each of the 3 case studies, about 8 minutes, each give or take a little bit. And between each case study, we're going to pause for just a few minutes so that we can answer as many of your questions as we have time for. So please type your questions into the box provided at the bottom of your screen at any time, and just type them in as you have them, and we'll address them at the end of each presentation. And once all presenters have finished, we're going to try and keep time for a general Q&A at the very end. And as before, all you do is just simply type in your questions, and we'll get to what we can get to in the time allowed. And just so you know, we're going to be recording this session for posting on the Magazines Canada website, should you wish to access it at a later time, or if you wish to share it with friends or colleagues. And you'll get notified that, in fact, that has been posted. And finally, I know you are all incredibly busy people, so we promise that we will end at or before the allotted 1 hour, depending on how many questions you have. So let's get started. And to kick things off, let me introduce the tag team duo of Peggy Biggin and Linda Stevenson from TC Media. Peggy is TC's General Manager of Creative Services, a transactional brand marketer. She has worked on both client and agency sides, leading strategy, creative and media planning, and process for some of Canada's most iconic brands. Peggy leads an in-house strategy and creative team for TC Media's portfolio of print and digital media. And joining Peggy is Linda Stevenson, a multi-platform creative director at TC Media. And with her many years of experience in the areas of digital marketing and advertising, Linda leads a team of art directors in TC's in-house creative department. Her role is to produce highly innovative content from concept to execution for advertisers and TC Media's complete brand portfolio. I'm now going to turn it over to Peggy and Linda. Take it away.
Good morning and good afternoon. Linda and I are delighted to be here today to share our case study of brand integration in our print and digital media. The program that we're going to be talking about is with our client, Kellogg Special K, and the program spanned over the period of 2011-2012. So it was kind of the back end of 2011 and the front end of 2012. As we all know, Special K has a special place in the hearts and minds of all people, but particularly in this case women, who are weight conscious. So the task was to build awareness of the portfolio products that Special K have in beyond just their cereal component, but other things that can be used as a weight management tool. And we wanted to deepen the connection and create engagement between the Special K assortment of product and the women who are trying to establish a weight management program and get to their desired state. And as we all know, women particularly, but I would dare say men as well, people generally are inspired when they can make a connection to reach their desired goal when they can hear stories of success and from real people, and to be able to share those success stories that they can relate to. There's a level of authenticity that is going to be a really important piece in order to drive the program. So Linda's going to describe a lot of the creative components, and she's going to build on the idea.
Hello everyone. What we wanted to do was create an integrated multi-platform program inspiring women to celebrate what makes them confident and fabulous and feel good about themselves and their shape. So we asked them to nominate themselves or a friend of theirs by submitting a photo and just one paragraph about what makes them feel good. And as you can see, the winners, it was a wonderful contest that they were flown to Toronto not only once but twice. Sorry, going off my thing here. And the first time they would come to Toronto, they would win $1,000 and a special K red dress designed by Cynthia Raleigh. And then they were flown back again in October to participate in LG's Fashion Week in Toronto. And they appeared on behalf of Special K, and they really became ambassadors for Special K. So it was pretty exciting, and they really, really embraced it. They were lovely women, and it was fabulous.
So the program was built in 3 phases, and the first phase taking part between February and May. And the first phase was the recruitment stage. And so what we needed to do in order to drive this contest component was to drive participation and get people to register online in order to win the great experience. And so we drove people, they went to the Special K CA microsite in order to enter the contest. And this was promoted through custom advertorial outlining the details of the contest, through the TC portfolio of magazines, Elle, Canadian Living, Style at Home, and then it was also shared with Rogers magazines, Flair, Lulu, and Best Health. We also created a custom poly bag for Elle magazine, and then the online component during February and May, where we had contest buttons that drove people to the CanadianLiving.com site, the Style at Home site, and Elle Canada, and more. There were, in addition to that, there were the brand cell ad units, which ran at the same time advertorial ad units to reinforce the key message about weight management. And then the whole thing was kicked off with Canadian Living Advantage event, which is really a celebratory event sent out to people, to an e-push or communications that was sent out to Canadian Living subscribers to participate in this event and get tips and advice from our Canadian Living food editor, Annabella Waugh.
And here we're showcasing the call to action for the contest that ran in book that Peggy spoke of. And on the right-hand side was the printed poly bag. It was the second time that we had ever done a fully printed front and back poly bag. And it was pretty striking, if I do say so myself. And also the event, and that the chef at the Ritz-Carlton, he actually created desserts for all the guests, and everything was made out of Special K. So that was exciting. And the women at the event were also invited to enter into this contest. And then you can see the promotional ad that ran in the magazines for the Canadian Living Advantage program. We had e-pushes. We deployed these, we used our database and driving awareness to this contest. Our online contest buttons, Canadian Living, Style at Home, and Elle Canada, living on their websites.
And then phase 2, which was the engagement piece, ran between May and October. This is when the strategy really comes to life. We had a series of themed advertorials creating inspired confidence and helping women reach their weight management goals. This was through tips in healthy eating, weight management, how to dress, almost like a personal blog, if you will, in terms of how women managed the journey to be able to get to the weight loss that they wanted. The diaries featuring writers were created, and under the headline of Start Something Fabulous, because it is a journey, and the end of the journey, it's a fabulous experience, and you feel really great about it. This appeared in Elle, Canadian Living Style at Home, and again was shared with the Rogers properties of Flair, Lulu, and Best Health. And all of the communication, all of the ads had a call to action to visit the Special K microsite, and on the online piece, advertorials lived on Canadian Living, and we had co-branded ads to continue to drive people again to the Special K microsite, sponsorship ads which were exclusive within our advertorial pages and linked again to the Special K site, embedded ads, custom push, newsletters. When you see the creative, you'll see how it builds and how it has so many legs, so that what we were really achieving was a tremendous recency factor in terms of people seeing the strong visual going across all the integrated platforms.
And here's a sample of the creative that ran in all those issues that Peggy mentioned. And you can see how strong, how branded it is, obviously, for Special K, giving fabulous tips and tricks and routines and healthy eating and just a whole healthy lifestyle. And you can see how we were consistent month after month, so that the readers, we were hoping, would be looking for these pages on a regular basis. And you can see how it just crosses over the promo ad units, keeping the same look and feel, so there was great consistency. The online advertorials, and here is something where we were very conscious of not giving the readers the exact same print experience to online. We tried to complement that particular month's information, but we tried not to duplicate it exactly, so that they were getting a great experience both in print and in digital. And again, here's just some more brand cell ad units, and you can see how they were placed on the specific websites. Here we're using Elle as an example. The embedded ads that appeared again on our TC Brands website. Newsletters, all of the newsletters that went out, as you can see, again, the consistency for a call to action for entering into the contest.
So our final phase through October to November, the big reveal. So this is when we bring our winners to life. And it's a series of advertorials that ran in Elle, Canadian Living Style at Home, and again featured in the Rogers properties of Flair, Lulu, and Best Health. Online, we continue with newsletters and brand and super banner ads on the web. But what I'd like to add here is that this was really, truly a partnership in working with the Kellogg's team. What was interesting is that we became an extension for them. So as much as we were, we developed all of the content that went into our respective media, we also were instrumental in the final selection process. So we had winners, but because, as Linda stated, the winners were to become ambassadors for the brand, we interviewed the winners to make sure that they had the properties that we would want to see exhibited in being an ambassador for the Special K products. We made sure that they were able to speak well, because in a sense, they were going out in their communities to be able to push out stories about their journey and their success using Special K to get to the weight that they wanted to get to. We had the winners representing from BC through to across Canada, and we received over 140 mentions in media through PR that the story was picked up, so they were interviewed on their local radio or television stations to really talk about this tremendous program, really. And when you see the final bits that Linda's going to share with you, you'll say, gee whiz, I really would want to do this myself.
Okay, and here is the winners revealed with a little bio of each of them, introducing them, talking about the prize that they were going to win. And again, I mentioned that they were flown to Toronto not once, but twice. And it was going to be a wonderful experience. They were wined and dined in Toronto. And this is the first chance now that the readers could see who the winners were. And then in the December issues, it was the big reveal. It was an 8-page run of press with a frontis there. At the bottom left is the front introducing the section. And there were also, we just showed you a sample of a few of the pages, but you can see how it stays consistent with the earlier on advertorials that we did. And there were some recipes given here, and the Canadian Living Test Kitchen developed all the recipes, and I'm not sure, but I don't believe they all included Special K, but it was all part of this reveal. And again, just like Peggy said, you know, not only did they appear in these magazines and online that we have mentioned, but in the two women that, as it turned out, happened to both be from Ottawa, they were featured in the Ottawa paper, a full page story on them in the lifestyle section. So it really, and they were on Canada AM, like it really, this campaign really went beyond what we had ever hoped for. Oh, did I just steal you?
No, that's fine. So, you know, in a nutshell, the results, I think the most important thing that was the key takeaway for us was that we saw collaboration between the key partners. And unless the partners are all there completely engaged and believing in the program, you know, it's not going to be as successful as it was. So it's, you know, thanks to TC Media and all the sales reps and bringing this together, and Linda and her team for generating all the great imagery and the consistency in which the way we went to market. But the Kellogg's brand as well, or the Kellogg's brand team, in believing in us and really committing to it. The Starcom media team and Strategic Objectives, which is Kellogg's PR firm, and of course their creative agency, Leo Burnett, who were behind it all the way. In terms of measurement, we certainly achieved the reach and frequency that was desired for the program. In both print and online, we delivered continuity in the Start Something Fabulous message, as clearly was demonstrated, I think, by the visuals. We certainly deepened the connection between Special K and Canadian women, and getting them involved in the message of the messages and in inspiring them to embrace their shape and their challenges and how to eat sensibly and how to live well and how to manage their weight. And we successfully built awareness of the entire portfolio of Special K products as a weight management tool. In terms of brand engagement, we saw above average, industry average in terms of click-through rate of 0.24% versus an industry standard of 10%. We have got indication that this would indicate that there was engagement and people were interested in learning and hearing and reading about the content and visiting the site and getting more information. Our return to visitors onto our media sites was averaged about 35%, and the Start Something Special received 53.21%, which again indicates the users were interested in wanting to come back and see more, get more content, and see what's happening. So all in all, I think it was a really successful program. It's something that we're certainly proud of. And hopefully you learn. Oh, yeah, Linda?
Yeah, just one more thing. Not only was it so successful, the client wanted to feature the women and some of their story on the back of their packaging. So
that's right, yeah.
In store, it appeared on the back of the large Special K
the large
boxes.
Special K boxes. So isn't that a wonderful way for people to feel like they're big stars, the red carpet treatment and so on? So thank you very much for letting us sharing this case study with you. And is this when they would have any questions, or are the questions at the end?
I'm just wondering if you have the opportunity, folks, to send in any questions you might have. You just simply type them in. At the bottom of your box, you should see a bar there. And if you have questions, just please write them in. So thank you, ladies. That was great. What a fabulous idea.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we're going to continue on. Again, if you have questions as we go, please just type them in so that we can address them at the end of the next presentation. So next up, oh, we're just rebooting. There we go. All right, let's move on to our next presenter, Andrew Williams. He is the Assistant Publisher of Venture Publishing. Day-to-day, he oversees the marketing, events, and special projects for Venture's 16 magazines and 7 websites. He also specializes in creating big, fun, integrated programs that engage readers and make advertisers happy. Isn't that what it's all about? Andrew, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Hello, everyone. So, Gary, you can hear me all right?
I can.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to take everyone through a big, fun B2B campaign that used all the strengths of a magazine media brand. The magazine, in this case, is Alberta Venture. It's Alberta's most prominent business publication. You think of it as almost the Forbes of the West. It's activated in print, online, through events. It's integrated with a job site, and will be soon be part of a digital radio network. So it's across quite a few different brands. So I'll just start with the basics. So ATB Financial, a prominent Albertan bank, came to us in the spring of 2011 with their goal to dominate Alberta's Small Business Week. They actually said the phrase, "We want to own Small Business Week." So in response, we came back to them with a program that spanned from June 2011 to December, in which we produced a program that combined print, online, social media, contesting, and surveys into a multi-layered marketing program that not only surpassed the client's expectations, but caught the attention of small business owners and even ATB's competition. So we divided it up internally as the content side and the promotion side. So the content side is anything that was used to create the content that appeared throughout the campaign, and then the promotion side was the ad campaign that followed along every step of the way with things like print ads, online ads. Online ads included things like e-newsletter spots, e-blasts, social media promotion through Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, web banner advertisements on 3 of our proprietary websites, and the like. So what follows is going to be a breakdown of all the major elements of the campaign. So the program began with a branded survey of Albertan small business owners on the challenges and opportunities that they face every day in the market. The survey was promoted using a mixture of online and print elements, including a front cover gatefold ad in our July issue, which is one of our most popular issues of the year. And as an added incentive, every survey completed resulted in a $2 donation to the STARS Air Ambulance Foundation. The reason why we picked that charity in particular was because it's extremely well regarded in Alberta. It's an air ambulance. And also ATB is a prominent supporter of this, the air ambulance. And sometimes it's little things like that that can really make clients happy if you can integrate their community outreach programs into your program. So we asked for quite a bit of detail because we wanted only the owners of small businesses to respond. We didn't want the admin assistant, we didn't want the marketing people. We wanted people, the small business owners that had the true insight. It was extremely targeted, and ATB was not actually expecting that many responses. They were not thinking we would get more than 100, but we managed to get over 420 small business owners to take the survey, and they really gave our editorial team some really lush insight into what matters most to them. So based on the results of the survey, our editorial team created a 16-page feature as part of our October issue. The survey went out during the summer. There was some lead time in between production, and then October we relaunched. So the feature was entitled The Secrets to Small Business Success and gave our 160,000 readers a comprehensive selection of advice and insight into how to run a better business and drew from the survey to form the basis of all the content. So you can see the In Magazine section start on the left-hand side there. ATB was given exclusive advertising and branding rights throughout this 16-page feature, and this included a full suite of custom print ads and special positions, which you'll see in a second. So in addition to the In Magazine feature, we then took that feature and developed it into a separate 20-page magazine with ATB occupying all the additional cover ad positions. We printed 20,000 copies of this magazine and distributed it to ATB locations all over the province and towards any events that they were running during Small Business Week in Alberta. So copies of the magazine were targeted to the ATB small business clientele, and as an added bonus, we extended temporary digital subscriptions to anyone that wanted to read the feature online. To ensure that the program and the section received maximum reader attention, we used a belly band to take them directly to it. So you can see on the image in the center, you've got the magazine cover with the belly band and with it off. Upon opening, readers were greeted with a double-page ad spread for ATB that appeared in the dead center of the section. And further, the double-page spread could be folded up into an Alberta Venture-produced map of Alberta that was filled with helpful statistics related to small business and demographic information throughout Alberta, as well as contact details for every major ATB branch in Alberta. So it was sort of a potent combination of custom print advertising and creative execution that really said that, ATB is there for small businesses across Alberta, which is exactly what ATB is all about. So that's perfect. The other image you can see is the section folded up and then just inserted into the rest of the content. So alongside the print campaign, Alberta Ventures web team created another ambitious online program to follow it. And the most important aspect of it was a sort of a sleek and mobile-friendly microsite devoted to all things small business. The site was home to all of Alberta Ventures' online small business content, including blogs, daily tips, and a lot of the daily tips were mined from that survey that we did early. And so it was quite a successful little microsite, and it produced over 17,000 unique visitors from the key period of activation, which was October to December. ATV brand was incorporated through banner ad positions, a site skin, an online version of the fold-out map, and one final element. So the final aspect of the program was an online contest targeted at small business owners. Oh, actually, I missed a slide. These are just a few examples of some of the ads and HTML documents. You can see the fold-out magazine ad on the left there. So yeah, the final element, as I was saying, was the small business contest. So it was an online contest targeted at small business owners, which featured $15,000 in prizes. Small business owners were asked to submit their best business advice throughout October via the small business microsite or mobile site. And from a total of 100 submissions, we narrowed that down to the best 10, the most pithy, the most that matched the survey results, that seemed to be the best, and then had people vote on them. So over 700 online voters cast their vote and provided us with their contact details, and they chose the top small business tip. So now, at this point, I put this slide up, never let the plan get in the way of a good idea. We had originally planned to contact the winner by phone, but then an interesting idea came to mind, and something that we realized we could have a bit of fun with this. So we decided to surprise him in person with the to let him know that he'd won. So we actually lured him into a local coffee shop under the pretense that we were a new client, and then we surprised him with a giant check. And so we got it on video and everything and posted pictures, and he was overjoyed and extremely choked up, and it was a really, really great experience for everyone. We had ATB involved in the surprise, as well as our editor, Mike Ganley, who's there on the left. So that kind of wrapped up the campaign for that year, but we still had the microsite run through the rest of the year that still posted regular and great small business-friendly content, just to keep the site warm and engaged. So, success metrics. First and foremost, we had a very happy client, and I know this because they signed up twice more. And so we're just about to launch the 2013 Small Business Campaign, and I think it's the first time a B2B publisher has gone down the reality route. It's a reality online and print campaign featuring small business owners. So look for that in October. We had great engagement with the exact target demographic, and we had a database to prove it. From web hits to actual contact details, we knew people were interacting with this every step of the way. The issue itself was also our third most popular newsstand issue of the year. So, I mean, obviously that's a lot of cover design, but also, I mean, it was a very interesting and fun and engaging issue, so that can only help you. Lastly, we won a bunch of awards, which is always nice. ATB actually submitted our program, or the program that they did with us, to the Enterprise Council for Small Business, and they won runner-up for Small Business Marketer of the Year award. And they were up against companies like Bank of America, who I think ended up winning, and MasterCard. So massive multinational organizations, and then ATB, the small local bank, right up there with them. It also won, the website won Best Cross-Platform Initiative at the Canadian Online Publishing Awards, and it was a runner-up for Best Cross-Platform Content at the Digital Alberta Awards, which is always very nice. So just to end off, the keys to success, from my perspective, were for integrated campaigns, it's always good to have a big idea. Always shoot for the stars and really put everything, all your creativity into it, because the readers can tell, the advertiser can tell, the client can tell, and it really just makes the entire thing a lot more worthwhile and exciting. Also, make sure you understand how much work these campaigns are. There's a lot of hard work, there's a lot of moving parts, and it's vital to keep on track of everything and really account for the amount of time that you need to put into these things. And last thing, the most important thing, is trust between the client and the publisher. ATB has been our biggest client pretty much since our inception in 1997. And you know, we've developed a truly great relationship, so much so that, you know, they can come to us and say, you know, wow us. And we're happy to do so. So that's pretty much it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Andrew. Just checking questions. We do have one question from Steve Klein asking roughly what was the total spent for the campaign. Is that something you can share, Andrew?
I'm not sure if I can share the exact number, but I will say it was the largest single campaign that they had purchased for us at the same time.
Right.
And that's not including their regular advertising throughout the year. This was a completely separate buy for them.
Understood. Thank you. We have another question from Connie Wilson, and a good question, good nuts and bolts question. Do you need a poly bag if you're using a belly band? How did you handle that?
You don't. You don't need a poly band when using a belly band. We had the belly band actually tipped on into the magazine, so it was stuck actually to the magazine. So every reader that got a copy was, you know, sent directly to the section.
And would that have included both newsstand and subscription?
I'm trying to remember. I believe it did.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, good, thank you. We have no more questions right now, so I'm going to suggest that we move to our third and final presenter. We'll just advance the slide here. Oops, getting ahead of myself. So, thank you, Andrew. Moving on now to Claudia Capalbo. She is a national account manager with over 16 years of experience in the media industry, including print, television, events, and online media. She has worked for Chum Television, NBA Canada, and is currently with Rogers Publishing on the Flair brand, where she uses her love of fashion for good, not evil, developing innovative multi-platform award-winning programs. Claudia is a proud member of the Rogers President's Club, an exclusive group of high-achieving sales professionals. Claudia, over to you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining. I'm really excited to share this campaign with you. I absolutely loved working on the Fab Life of Barbie project because it was just so much fun, and we had the ability to be so creative with it. And how many account managers can actually say that they got to play with Barbies during their workday? This project really demonstrated the power and the impact of print and how effective it could be to integrate a campaign and engaging to the audience. So before I go into the presentation, I wanted to show you a video of the Fab Life of Barbie project so you get an essence of what it was all about. So have a watch and enjoy.
Barbie has always been synonymous with fashion and style. Ever since her 50th birthday in 2009, she has been positioned as a major fashion icon in the Canadian market. Women who once played with Barbie dolls have grown up, but now see her as a fashion brand, and media executions in major Canadian fashion magazines have further established her position in the industry. Introduce some media innovation into a campaign rooted in fashion and self-expression, leveraging this fashion-connected insight, and to further resonate with fashionistas and Barbie lovers alike, Flair, who was a Toronto Fashion Incubator sponsor, to create excitement and exposure for Barbie's involvement with Toronto Fashion Incubator's 25th anniversary in 2012. Barbie challenged Canada's top fashion designers to create one-of-a-kind designs. From up-and-coming notable designers, 25 designers were selected to create unique fashionable pieces. These pieces were then created both Barbie-size and life-size and unveiled in a special runway show at the ROM, modeled by celebrities. The innovative media execution came about when Toronto Fashion Incubator sponsor Flair magazine to create a one-of-a-kind print execution sure to excite fashionistas and Barbie fans alike. Flair's special Toronto Fashion Incubator 25th anniversary supplement featured highlights of the past 25 years of their designs and designers with a special treat for Barbie fans, along with an editorial piece on the Barbie-inspired fashion show and a feature on the winning design. The one-of-a-kind 6-page gatefold featured the 25 designers and their inspirational sketches, along with a stunning spread of Barbie dolls. The end result was a smash hit for Barbie. The cultural conversation and buzz in the marketplace far exceeded our clients' expectations, and we generated over 15 million impressions for the Barbie brand.
So hopefully you get an idea of what the campaign was all about, and it was just a really amazing and innovative opportunity for us to be able to involve Barbie with the TFI and do something great in Flair. So just to give you an idea of what the requirements were, so Barbie is a major fashion icon and brand, and the client had asked us to deliver a national marketing campaign for Barbie rooted in fashion and self-expression in order to grow the brand and to reinforce her unique status as fashionable and aspirational. So really have our readers and the Barbie lovers expect the unexpected and be able to drive cultural conversations and noise and, of course, ultimately drive sales at the retail level. Knowing what the RFP was, we knew that it had to be highly impactful and creative, it had to resonate with fashionistas and Barbie fans, and it had to build the excitement and exposure for the Barbie brand. We also knew that it had to incorporate the partnership with the Toronto Fashion Incubator, which is an organization that supports up-and-coming designers. The timing of it, when we received it, was in July of 2011, and the campaign was to be launched in spring of 2012 with a print execution that we did in August. So if you can imagine, it was over a year in the works of this project from start to finish, and the target being women 18 to 49. So the Toronto Fashion Incubator and Barbie partnership gathered 25 designers to create their unique and one-of-a-kind Barbie inspirations and debut them on the runway worn by celebrities and display them on actual dolls at the TFI's 25th anniversary gala event in May at the ROM. So we had two portions of it. We had the dolls on display at one portion on the ROM, and there was also the runway show. And Flair has a media partnership with TFI, so what we did was we created a special 16-page supplement for TFI's 25th, showcasing highlights from the show and features on the competitors and the winner, plus the 25-year history of the TFI and a very special gatefold, which you will see on the next page. So really leveraging the partnership that we had with TFI, I wanted to be able to create an innovative and inspirational print execution that was an extension of the runway show with an original idea that had never been done before. So working with our strategic creative team at Rogers, we were able to create a glamorous, lifelike photo spread of the Barbie dolls wearing mini versions of the designer's unique gowns from the runway show. And this gatefold was done off the inside back cover of the supplement, featuring a selection of the Barbie dolls, along with a custom advertorial, which highlighted the 25 designers' inspirations for creating their dresses. So it was a 6-page spread, and on one side it had the advertorial, and on the back side of the supplement, it had the fold-out spread. The project was created between February and May. It was featured in our August issue, and the video that you had seen earlier was actually submitted and awarded the gold at the Metal Innovation Awards for Best Content Integration and Sponsorship in November of 2012, which we were very excited about and very proud of. So the end result, the cultural conversation and the buzz that created in the marketplace exceeded our clients' expectations, and we ended up generating over 15 million impressions for the Barbie brand across multiple platforms. So it was a really huge success and really impactful campaign, which we were very proud of. And one of the things that we also received from Adriana, who was our client, who's a senior manager of marketing at Mattel, said, "What an amazing win. I'm truly proud of this collaboration and how all the elements of the program came together." So that was pretty much the essence of what it was all about. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Claudia. Any questions? Anyone on the line? Our apologies for the feedback. I hope we didn't break the windows in your office. All right, let's open up the floor then to everybody. Do you have any questions at all about anything for any of our speakers? If you do, again, just use the bar at the end of the line to type in your questions. While we wait for questions to come in, let me just pose a couple of questions to our speakers today. And I'm going to start with the brief. We talked about it just briefly earlier, but what is the importance of the brief in getting it right? I mean, I think we're all believers in the idea of garbage in, garbage out. So let's talk about the brief and why that has to be right. Who wants to take that?
Peggy? I am a really strong believer in a tight brief, and I know that in the media sector that I'm working in now, often the turnaround times are very demanding from our agency partners, and so the opportunity to write a brief isn't necessarily always there. There would be an RFP, but some of the key nuggets of information that you're looking for in an RFP are missing often, particularly when you're trying to develop a creative brief that's built on an insight. And so I have developed what we call a mini brief or a quickie, and it really just asks 5 questions. What are we trying to say? Why do we want to say it? So why is it important to the person whose time we're interrupting with this message? And what's the benefit that they're going to get out of it? And who are we speaking to? And are there some key deliverables? And I think if we just think in very simplistic terms, we can answer those questions fairly quickly, and certainly will help the creative get to a place quickly as opposed to having to dig through an RFP, which often will be multiple pages because the agency has spent a lot of time gleaning all that information, but you're trying to get to a salient point that you can really build a strong idea from. And so, yeah, I'm a big, big believer in a brief, for sure.
I can tell. Let me, if I may, we have a question from the audience from Paulette Moyer. And her question reads, in all three case studies, what role did the agencies play? Partners to the campaign, or are we finding that the publishing teams are taking more of an agency role? And finally, how does this affect the relationship with agencies and brands? So what role do the agencies play? Are they partners, or are we finding that publishers are actually leading the team? Who wants to take that?
I would just say in our case, ATB has their own in-house agency that they deal with for creative matters, but they do all their booking internally. So from a creative side, their agency integration was vital in sort of activating all those big flashy double-page spreads and big executions. So in our case, it was good for everyone. Yeah, that's probably all I would say in that case.
Yeah, we find great collaboration between all the parties, and that's everybody's got their role, and I don't think we're stepping on other people's toes. I think that we work great as a team, and ultimately then the advertisers end up with the very best.
And I'd have to agree as well. I think with the Barbie project in particular, we had a strong role from both the agency and the client side, and they were working with us from beginning to end. Even at the photo shoot, they were both in attendance there and really being able to see the vision come to life. So I think it's really
the very beginning, you know, how strong a role do they want to take? If they feel that you've really got what you're doing and they don't need to stay right on top of things, you know, just be included in all the emails so they're aware of what's going on, but they don't need to, well, from an art director's point of view, that they're not constantly weighing in on the creative.
Yeah. And because I'm responsible for the creative output for the sales folks at TC, it's really important that we realize that we're not in competition with the creative ad agencies. We are there to really complement another aspect of the marketing mix for our clients. And so when we get the opportunity to work in a collaborative fashion like we did with the Kellogg's, where having the support of Leo Burnett was really, really critical to our success, and that's when we're most successful, when everybody is there as an equal shared partnership in the outcome.
Good, thank you, speakers. We have another question, this one from Diane Denby. And the question is, how many people were involved in each of these three projects? Is there an estimate of the number of hours spent on the three campaigns? Do you have any? I'm guessing it's large.
a lot.
Yeah. Well, we're just now beginning to put some measurements in terms of measuring the hours for our department. But certainly these types of integrated programs take a life on to their own, and they're exciting, and so people want to participate, and so sometimes you have to say you can't because you have something else to do. But yeah, they take a lot of time and but lots of organization. But that's what we signed on for, and it's also the fun part of the job. So.
And we find with these big projects, it becomes a dedicated team for that time period, whether it's a year and a half, or 8 months. It's pretty much a dedicated team. You probably found that with Barbie.
Absolutely. The project was in the works for over a year, and the amount of people involved just from our side of things, not to mention the agency, the client, and then when we did the photo shoot, we were getting renowned photographers and professional hairdressers as well as stylists and such. So there is so many people involved that really kind of made it work. And all those people were there from start to finish. So I think it is definitely a long project, but it's so worthwhile and rewarding at the very end when you see it come together.
I would just have to echo what the others have said in that pretty much the team that worked on the magazine and the design team that worked on the magazine, they layered this project into their work that they were doing already. So because it was so integrated into content of the magazine and what we were doing online already, we just made it fit into the schedule of what we were doing. Having one sort of decision maker and sort of wrangler for everyone was really important, just so that there's one point of contact with the client, and having all that kind of thing really helped everyone's workload get through it.
I agree with Andrew on that. You do definitely need one point person, because I found that once everything kind of came through me, I was able to communicate with the proper channels, and it kept things a lot simpler. So, absolutely.
Yeah, we find a campaign manager is assigned to each job, and they're really the ringleader and the keeper of all info. They know exactly what's going on and who's doing what, and good or bad, they're the go-to person.
Yeah.
Good answers. In fact, I think there's a segue here because we're sort of touching on the area of measurability, and I know more and more advertisers and agencies, everybody involved really wants to know, is it working, what's working? How does one come to grips with those kinds of questions when you build these campaigns? How often are you getting asked for measurement, and how do you work out what those metrics are?
Well, in our experience with an RFP, the media agency has already determined what kinds of measurements they're looking for anyway. So you build the plan according to that in terms of reach and response and so on. But for us, we use a lot of online tools to measure, and for example, Google Analytics would be a way of measuring, and we can measure engagement, we can measure how, click-through rate, and measure how long a person is engaged at a site and how deep they go into the site. And all of that helps build our case. And then moving forward, particularly with the Special K, we could see from the diary scenario which diaries were gaining more traction than others, and so then we could change it up so that we could ensure that the content that was relevant to the reader was amplified as opposed to giving them just content for content's sake. And those are the kinds of things that we can measure. And yeah, so it's certainly measurement is becoming a much better criteria for sure.
And a lot of times when we're driving from the magazines, our various magazines, we're coding it differently. So we're knowing which magazines are really driving online, what's working, what's not working. We like to think they all work, but certainly there is some fluctuation.
So there's some increasing sophistication in this. It's a moving target, I'm sure.
Yeah, and there's always new developments and new tools that are being added or new features of a tool. And so it's a learning process for all of us, and also a learning process for our clients, because they set up expectations, and then it's like, can you measure actually what they're trying to measure? And so again, I think it's all about working collaboratively and being able to manage expectations of the outcome.
Setting up the expectations at the very beginning also helps allay a lot of problems in the future.
Yeah.
Good, thank you. There's another question from the audience. And Nancy Hopkins asked the question, I guess first with a statement, these are large campaigns utilizing national magazines and websites. Is there any consideration to also include smaller reach magazines, i.e. ads on or in regional magazines and their websites? And then she points out that she is a regional, seasonal Eastern Ontario magazine, but a strong voice in the region.
I would just jump in and say that our campaign isn't a national magazine or a website. Alberta Venture is circulated almost entirely in Alberta. Our website receives traffic mostly from Alberta and then increasingly from places like Texas and Toronto, but it's still mostly Alberta. So we're what you're talking about. We're a smaller reach magazine than the two national examples. And I mean, as far as size goes, for sure these are big, weighty campaigns, and not all publishers and not all content providers can create to the same extent. But an integrated campaign doesn't have to be a multi-million-dollar campaign. It can be just using whatever resources you have, and as long as you manage the expectations of the client and try and give them something innovative, no matter what size it is, integrated campaigns can work, no matter if you're regional or national.
Right, and for us, often when we're doing pitches, we include Metro, either here or in the Quebec market, and also the regional magazines. We will, if there's a need for it, if there's a reason for it to be in there, then we include it in the
and we
plan.
can geo-target the digital component as well. So while our magazines are seen as national magazines, there is a way to just buy it according to the region that you're interested in.
And I guess I should also point out, too, that often some of the campaigns that you build are exclusively for the magazines that you're part of, and that could be just a part of a broader campaign that an advertiser is running. So, I don't think this needs to exclude the ability for others to be on the plan, but often these ideas are often exclusive to those who create them.
Well, in our case, though, we shared our creative with our major competitor, Rogers.
There you go.
So, it's
And readers, I think
right.
that helps
So
readers.
it really was important to be able to deliver the reach that our clients needed, or our client needed in this case. And so augmenting that with the Rogers properties of Flair, Lulu, and Best Health certainly delivered on that front. And so we work that way, and we don't have a problem doing that.
Yeah, and I think in this particular case, the PR company was facilitating getting it out to the local media and letting that just take its course,
Correct.
which was amazing.
Yeah.
Some question of, if you could pick just one thing, what advice would you give to anyone running a program, like what we've heard today for the very first time? Any perspectives?
Yes, make sure there's enough time to implement it. Start
Amen.
early.
Amen.
Yeah, I would say pre-planning is really critical to make sure that you've covered all your bases, and always have a plan B scenario of what happens when the ship sinks, and all your talent is there, but always have a backup plan.
And make sure you get everybody involved from the beginning. I think that's really important, is just getting everyone involved and on the same page and being able to understand and know what the vision is. Because, for example, with the photo spread that we did, having to book a photographer, going around his schedule, makeup artist, stylist, all those people need to be booked months and months in advance. So really being able to have everybody involved as early as possible, I think, is really key. And again, as what we had discussed earlier about having one point person that can just be like the main go-to person to really just be able to bring everybody together for the project, I think, is really what makes it successful.
And I would say pitch outside your comfort zone. Clients and advertisers these days are expecting interesting, creative ideas. Just because you haven't done something before doesn't mean you can't learn for this project. We hadn't actually ever done anything with the mobile web for this project, but we learned, and the client was overjoyed that we could deliver a fully mobile optimized site. So always, just because you aren't doing something currently, I would say always try and pitch outside of your comfort zone.
Excellent. Well, thank you. We are now at 1 o'clock, so I think as promised, we'll wrap it up. So thank you very much to our four speakers, Peggy, Linda, Andrew, and Claudia, for sharing the great case studies that you have brought with you today. And thanks to everybody online. Some very good questions. And obviously, thank you for spending your time with us over the lunch hour here today or whatever time you might be living in. I hope you learned something new and that these 3 case studies have inspired you in some way. And I hope as you've seen that there are so many things that you can do with magazine media today. In fact, perhaps it's best to say, what can't you do? We're really only limited by one's imagination. As promised, we're going to be sending you a follow-up, but we're going to be sending you links to this presentation when we pull the recording off later today, and we'll have something up to you likely next week. We're also going to be sending you a questionnaire, which we ask you to complete, and really it's pretty simple. It's about 2 minutes. We just ask you to give us your comments on what you liked, anything you didn't like, and topics that you think you would find interesting in the future. It's what makes us better, and it helps us meet your needs, and at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. So finally, I have a very big thank you that I want to put out there to the Ontario Media Development Corporation. The slide has disappeared, but there was an OMDC logo on that slide, I promise you. OMDC are a wonderful group of people. They support us with many things that we do, including today's webinar, and a huge thank you to everybody at the OMDC, Ontario Media Development Corporation. And that's it. So thank you, everybody, for your time today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great long weekend. Bye-bye.
Great.